So this video is designed to review some terms you learned in the last video and introduce a few new terms and then do some practice to make sure everyone's on the same page. So the first definition we're going to review is a point. And if we remember from the last video, a point has no size and it only represents a location. So I can say that this is point A. I can also make a really big point here, and it doesn't matter that that's bigger. I can just name it point B, or I can make a tiny little speck of a point, and that's point C. Our other term that we are reviewing is a line. And remember, a line extends forever in both directions. It has no thickness, and we name it with 2 capital letters, or we can use a script letter at the end. So this would be line AB, because the correct symbols are important. Or we would say it's line, and that's lowercase l. And I know sometimes people have trouble with lowercase letters. Just do the best that you can. We also have the term of a plane, which we know is a flat surface that extends forever in all directions, and it is made up of 3 non-linear points. Now, you don't need to draw these arrows to show that it's a plane. This is just to represent that it extends in all directions. So if this is plane X, Y, Z, and even if I have a W over there, I only need to pick 3 points, and I would say that this is plane X, Y, Z. Because whenever possible, we want to go in alphabetical order. It's not always possible, but it's nice to try your best. Now, a term that you probably have heard before, but I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, is a line segment. Now, a line segment is a part of a line that has 2 endpoints. These dots here are called endpoints. And if I stay with my AB points, the way that I would write this is AB with a line segment on top of it. Some of my students find it helpful to put little points at the ends to remind themselves that it starts and stops. Remember that I can also write it as BA. The next new term that we're going to learn is array. An array is a piece of a line that has 1 endpoint, and it extends forever in one direction. So again, if I name this A and B, just for argument's sake, because this starts at A and goes toward B, I write it that way, and my symbol is array. Please note, if I try to turn this around and start at B and go to A, it stops at A. So there's only one correct way to write this. BA is incorrect because in rays, order matters. Now we're going to do a little bit of practice. This is also a review. Remember that points are named, we know, by a capital letter. So if this is my point, I know that this is point M. And it is very important that you write with capital letters because lowercase letters will be wrong. Geometry is all about symbols and notations, and capital letters to lowercase letters, putting the wrong symbols means it's the incorrect information. I can also write a point and then M, and occasionally I can just write the capital letter. And my penmanship is just wonderful. Now, if we remember, planes are named using 3 non-collinear points or 1 uppercase cursive letter. So in this case, if I was going to name this plane, again, I'm going to try to do it in alphabetical order. So I would say plane A, B, C, or any combination of those 3 points. Or I could say it was plane L. Now, in the next section, we have lines, segments, and rays. we remember that lines are named by 2 points, and we use the line symbol. It can also be named by using one lowercase cursive or script letter. Segments are named using 2 points and have that symbol. And rays are named using 2 points and as a ray. The other thing to remember is that ray symbols always go to the right because it's the right thing to do. So we never draw it backwards. The end point goes first, and then we have the next letter. So if I look here at these examples, it says name the line, segment, and ray from the figures below. So because this has arrows on the end, we know that we're going to name this for a line. And because it has points and this little script letter at the end, we have 3 ways to name this. We can name it as line JK, which means I go from J to K, and everything else on that line. Line KJ, I go from here to here and every other point on the line. And then line P. And I have to write the word line if I'm going to use the script letter. Now here we have 2 letters with a line that has endpoints. So we know that it's not a line, it's a segment. So let me put that this is a line and that this is a segment. So that means I could say that it is segment ST. ST with the symbol on top that has no arrows, or TS because order doesn't matter. This is a ray. Rays, when I'm dealing with rays, order matters. It ends at L and keeps going toward M. So I say that that is ray LM, and there is only one way that I can name it. Now, if I look at these 3 examples, this has more than 2 points, has a lot more than 2 points. This has more than 2 points. This has more than 2 points. If I look at this, I have lines, which is the whole thing. I have segments, other segments, and I have rays. So I'm going to show you how, in this case, I'm not going to name all of them, but I just want to take a moment to show you how one line can have rays and segments. So I can name this as line AB, because even though it only goes from A to B, it actually continues everywhere. I can name this as line AE, because it goes from here to here and continues on. I can name it line CD, because it goes from here to here, but it's everything on the outside. There are no script letters, so I can't do that. But I want to take a moment, and I want to show you how in here I also have segments. So if I say AB with a segment symbol, I am only talking about from A to B. If I say segment AE, then I am only talking about from here to here. If I say segment CD, then I am only talking about from there to there. And that is why it is important, as I almost forget, to use the correct symbols. I can also get rays here. If I say I'm going from D to E, and if I say I'm having ray DE, that means I'm starting at D, and I'm going towards E, and I continue in that direction. If I say that I have ray DA, I am starting here, and I'm going all the way in that direction. They are 2 separate directions. It is very important that you look at the letters and let the letters be your guide. So here we're going to start with segments. If I want to talk about the entire segment, I would say WZ. If I want to find a segment that's the same length, or the same thing, that would be ZW, because order doesn't matter. I cannot have a line because there are no arrows. But I can say segment XY, and that is just this part, or segment YZ, or WX, or segment YZ. There's so many different options in here, it almost is overwhelming. Also, I can't have a line, but I also can't have a ray, because since there's no arrow going in any direction, it won't continue going. So there are no lines and there are no rays in this example, only segments. If I look at this example of a ray, and again, I know it's a ray because it is an endpoint and continues forever in the opposite direction, I can name this as ray MO because it starts at M and it goes towards O. I can also name it as ray MN because it starts at M, goes towards N, and keeps going. So those are the same rays. But if I say ray NO, that starts here and goes forever. There's overlap, but they are not the same thing. There are no lines because there's no arrow going the other way, but there are segments. I can have segment MN, which is only here. I can have segment NO, which is only from here to here. Or I can have segment MO, which goes from here to here. That is why it is so important that you make an effort to use the correct symbols and avoid mistakes. Do not hesitate to ask any questions by email or through Canvas.